Alright, so TNA Final Resolution just went off the air, and I'm in here for my review for you guys, and I gotta say, overall with the show, I thought it was pretty damn good, and TNA as of late has been hit or miss, but however, for Final Resolution for this year, I thought it was pretty damn good, and there's some things I liked, some things I didn't really care for, but, overall, like I mentioned, it was pretty damn good. Now, however, with the main event, I do have some problems with that. I will get into that later on in this review and explain why, basically, but we did get to kick things off with the first match of the night, and which was a good way to kick things off. And now we had Rob Van Dam taking on Christopher Daniels. Now, with this one, we see the nice chemistry, of course, and back and forth work between these two, and heel heat by Daniels, giving it to the fans and everything. We see the Rolling Thunder in this one. We see a nice spear by Daniels, and as well the Frog Splash, which actually helps RVD get the win here. Now, don't really have any complaints with RVD. I think he's a good wrestler, and these two put on a good match. And of course, I would have liked to see Daniels get the win, but in a way, it was kind of win-win. It would have been nice to have Daniels win for sure, but not too sure if they're gonna have this feud continue, which I believe the next pay-per-view is Genesis, if I'm not mistaken. So I will have to wait and see what's gonna happen with that one. Then we get into the TV Championship matchup between Eric Young and Robbie E. Now, but this one didn't really care for this one too much. To me, honestly, I thought this should have been safe for Impact instead of for the pay-per-view. But I didn't really care for it too much. And we did have a John Cena moment in this one with Eric Young trying to get the attitude adjustment to Robbie E and Robbie T on this one. So I thought that was actually pretty funny and pretty interesting too, to say the least. But in the end, Robbie E does come out on top and defeats Eric Young and retains the TV Championship. Then we get into the TNA Tag Team Championships, which are on the line. And this one was actually a good match, and both teams were able to coexist with one another. This one we have Matt Morgan and Crimson taking on the Pope and Devon, and I was actually pretty into this one as well. We see the fight to see who would take down the tag team champions, with Pope and Devon trying to take out Morgan and Crimson in this one and trying to work together on this. So they did pretty well in that, and I was pretty impressed. And we see the double teams as well also in this match, and a pretty good fast-paced back and forth match, if you will. And in the end, of course, it was pretty obvious who was going to win this one, and that's right, Matt Morgan and Crimson both winning and retaining the tag team championship. So that's it when it comes to that one. And right after that, we get into the X Division Championship match between Austin Aries and as well Kid Cash. And this one was actually pretty good between these two. We see a lot of roll-up attempts in this match as well. Also, of course, the fast-paced match between these guys as well, trying to do their best and trying to see who will take each other out. And we see this really build up from the last pay-per-view. And both of these guys trying to take out Jesse Sorensen. Now we see them actually trying to prove who wants the X Division Championship. So in the end, Austin Aries does get to retain, and that really didn't matter to me who won or who lost. So this one was a win-win situation for me. So it's good that Austin Aries was able to get the win there when it comes to the X Division Championship. And now we get into, yes, the Knockouts Championship match, which was probably one of my favorite matches on the card. And both of these two, with Michael and Mickey and Gail Kim, both put on a great match. And to me, I think, honestly, both of these two were actually watching their own matches in this one and actually put on some good chemistry work between these two, and proved to see who wants the Knockouts Championship more, and really put on a good battle between these two. So I really enjoyed it, and hopefully at the next pay-per-view for Genesis, we will get to see a Falls Count Anywhere match. I think that would be very interesting to see, with their feud continuing hopefully at Genesis. And yes, unfortunately, it was bound to happen. We did get to see a run-in from Madison Rayne, but don't think for a second that she's going to get away from it, because I'm sure Mickey will get some payback on this one and continue the feud until Genesis. So I was really hoping to have a markout moment, but fortunately that's not going to happen in this video. So maybe by Genesis, Mickey James will bring the championship back home to Richmond. So with that, it was a great match. I do like both Mickey and Gail, so no real complaints there. Hopefully the feud will continue, and I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to happen next. Alright, so the next match right after that, which was another one of my favorite matches of the night, we had Kurt Angle and James Storm. Now with this one, these two had a lot to prove in this one, and I thought it was a good back and forth match between these two, pulling out finisher after finisher, and you know, James Storm looking to have some payback after what Kurt Angle did, try to attack him, and basically look to go after the World Heavyweight Championship, and also James Storm as well, looking to go after the World Heavyweight Championship, and hopefully we will get to see James Storm against Bobby Roode. Maybe at Genesis. We'll have to wait and see what kind of match they're gonna have whenever that happens, and see how that's gonna turn out. So this was a great match with these two, and what we did get to see here, basically a match style based wrestling match between these two. We see, of course, the nice chemistry work, like I mentioned. We see the code breaker in this one, that's with the backstabber as well in this one, and both guys really try to take each other out. And then in the end, that's why James Storm was able to get the win here. So hopefully, we will, like I mentioned, hopefully get to see James Storm against Bobby Roode for the World Heavyweight Championship. So really great match, and definitely one of my favorites as well. Alright, so the next match, we did have the steel cage match between the Battle of the Jeffs. That's right, Jeff Hardy against Jeff Jarrett. Now with this one, with the loser will basically leave TNA, and the winner will move on and become #1 contender, so to speak. So I like what they're doing with Jeff Hardy. Hopefully they don't rush his World Heavyweight Championship opportunity too fast, and hopefully they will have a slow build going into it and have some sort of faith going into it, especially when we're down with Jeff Hardy and everything, and hopefully we won't have that rush. But it was actually a pretty damn good match between these two, and we see the escapes, of course, by both guys trying to win the match and everything like that. Of course, Karen was outside, basically handcuffed to Sting there, so we did get to see that as well. We see an epic miss with the Swanton Bomb. That was actually pretty damn sick there by Jeff Hardy, so we saw a couple of spots there. And in the end, who does get the win? And that's right, Jeff Hardy does come out on top and defeats Jeff Jarrett, so it is guaranteed that Jarrett, this time, which was the stipulation added, will be fired on Impact. So hopefully it'll be Jeff Jarrett, and we'll have to wait and see what's going to happen with that. And also, hopefully, they will continue the slow build for Jeff Hardy right after that. So that's basically it when it comes to the steel cage match. Alright, so we move along to the 30-minute Iron Man match for the World Heavyweight Championship between Bobby Roode and AJ Styles. Now with this one, definitely one of my favorite matches on the card, and both of these veterans looking to do their best to see who wants the World Heavyweight Championship more, and both AJ Styles and Bobby Roode just really taking it to each other and putting on a good match and pulling off basically finisher after finisher, signature after signature between these two, and really something had to give. And at one point we were tied a piece, then AJ Styles was able to come back on this one, and it was really like a beat the clock challenge, and I was hoping there wouldn't be a tie or a draw in this one, and that's what actually happened towards the end there. It was a tied 3 apiece, and when it came down to the final seconds, when the time was just about to expire, and Bobby Roode just basically walks out and wins it there. So it wasn't really a draw, but the win still went to Bobby Roode anyway, and I was actually pulling for AJ Styles in this one, and it was a win-win situation for me, so it didn't really matter who won or who lost in this one, basically. But with the 3-3 tie, basically, didn't really like how that happened. It should have been, in a way, I get, not really even now, but at least AJ Styles or Bobby Roode should have had a better win with that one. And I almost thought they were going to have a sudden death and go for an extra 5 minutes. That didn't exactly happen, so maybe at Genesis we will have a rematch, definitely, I'm sure, between these two veterans, and I would like to see that. Or maybe we'll see some sort of triple threat match between James Storm, Bobby Roode, and AJ Styles. Who knows? That's the possibility there. But anyway, that's about it for my review. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Be sure to comment on what your favorite matches and what you liked about the pay-per-view and everything like that. And I want to thank each and every one of you guys who were able to come to the pre-show. The next pre-show we will be having, and that would be for the Slammy Awards. So hopefully you guys can join us after Raw on Ustream, which will be most likely around 11 to 5 and whenever Raw ends for the Slammy, since it's going to be a 3-hour show starting at 8. So it should be great. Let me know what you guys' thoughts are, of course. I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts and opinions and feedback, and that about does it for me. Peace.